Hello, back again. Okay, I got cut off in the middle of a train of thought. But anyways, we leave Thermopolis, Wyoming. We head to California because his my stepfather's cousins all lived in Santa Barbara, California, and they said, "Come out here, Uncle Tarzan." Okay, it was his nieces and nephews. It was his oldest sister Corey's kids, and they were all living in California. So they said, "Come out here. There's lots of work." And, you know, so we moved to Santa Barbara, California. We live in a bungalow. And the first week I'm there, we're walking around in shorts and t-shirts and our bathing suits. People are out walking in their bathing suits, and you're picking kiwi off of kiwi trees and, peeling the skins off and eating them like an orange. And the beach was my playground. I wasn't allowed to go in the water, and I wasn't allowed to go in the pool. That there was a pool there that you had to pay to go in. So I never went in there. And I was 9 years old, and I used to run down to the beach. And there were swings, so I used to swing as high as I could and then jump into the sand. And then kids would come over, and they were with their parents, and so they would swing, and so we would swing, and then we would leap into the sand, and then whoever leaped the farthest won. And so I used to go down there by myself because I was an only child, and play with random kids that just were there with their parents. And then one day, a little girl at school said, I said, "I go down to the beach and play." So she says, "Well, I live on the beach too." And so she found out that she lived right across the street. Her grandparents owned a hotel. So she used to come over, and we used to play and do the same thing, jump into the sand. And coconuts used to fall off the coconut trees, and then we would drink the juice sometimes, or we'd peel off the coconut and eat it. And so the beach, it was beautiful. I love California. I just thought it was just amazing. And so my stepfather was a rabble rouser. He was a lot of trouble. So the landlady, she was sitting in the living room with us talking about the apartment, I guess. I don't know. She came over one day, and she had on short shorts and a tank top, and she was flirting. And then she told him she needed something fixed in her kitchen. So he was gone for a while, and then he came back. My mom and him got into a fight. And I walked along the beach with my step cousins, and they shot at birds. So I shot a rifle a couple of times. I didn't hit anything, but they showed me how to shoot a rifle on the beach, walking on the beach. We used to pick up a lot of stuff from the beach, like seashells and the nets and those glass things. There was no garbage. This was back in the 50s. There was no garbage in the water, but we used to pick up so I had a whole collection of stuff from the beach. And so we lived in that bungalow for a little while, but I had to go to school. So the school was a little bit too far, and I couldn't walk. So we moved to an apartment. It was a 3-room apartment, and there was a partition. So I slept in a little bedroom space in a twin bed, and they had the living room, the couch folded out. And so the school was up on top of a hill, so I used to walk up this big, tall, long hill up to the school. And so I went there for from September to like April. And I learned Spanish. They were teaching us Spanish. I could count to 10, and Usta, estes is United States, and uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez. I learned a little bit of Spanish by the time I left there, and a lot of Spanish history, and played with Mexican kids. And then they bought me a bike, so I used to ride around the little area where we lived. I used to ride down the hills. And you know, my stepfather was working some. He had a job, but then it was raining in December. It was raining the whole winter. It rained a lot that winter. So I don't know, by spring, I don't know, he had made friends with the Mexican people next door, and then he was going in their houses, and he was going to their houses, his friend's house, and they were gambling. And so one day my mom and him got into a big fight, and he ended up in jail for the night. And when he came out of jail, he packed up his stuff and he left us in California. So now it's me and my mom. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't work. And so she calls up Carol in Buffalo and tells her what. And she said, well, you just come back here. So Corey come over, his sister, and she helped us. She got rid of stuff. Well, I don't know what we had, but she took a lot of households. We just had to pack up enough what we were allowed to carry on a train. So we took the train from Santa Barbara to Buffalo, New York. We took a train. And it took 4 days for us to travel on that train back to Buffalo, New York. I suppose it was a southern route. So we went through New Mexico. I do know that, in Texas, part of Texas. And then I think it goes upwards. It goes along the south route, and then it goes north. So anyways, but we were and we didn't have very much money. So a couple of times people noticed that we weren't eating in the dining car. We were just getting out and going to a little store and getting snacks and eating them on the train. So a couple of times people bought us dinner because they saw me and her alone together on that train, and they knew something wasn't right. But anyways, we make it back to Buffalo, and we go get a cab to Carol's house, and so we're back living in that room, I think. I'm sure we were living in that room. Well, I guess who shows up at Carol's? You know who. Okay. And I said to my mom, you're not going to go back with him, are you? And she goes, well, I have to. She goes, I have no choice. We don't have any money. We'd have to go back on welfare. Then they give me a hard time. And I have no choice. You know, this is, you know, how women were oppressed in the 50s. She had like 6th to 8th grade education. She took care of an invalid mother from 16 to 26. She worked in a war plant for a couple of years. She made a little bit of money then. But, you know, she didn't have any education. The only thing she could do was work in a laundry. And they didn't pay anything. So she didn't make any money. And then she had to put me in a daycare, and the welfare had to pay for that. So it was either pay for her to stay home with me or pay for me to be in a daycare. So eventually I go to school, but so we're back in Buffalo, and then he finds an apartment. And so I finished going to school in Buffalo, I think April and May when we graduated. So I had missed some education in the 4th grade because I was in California learning Spanish. So I don't know what, I missed about a month of schooling. But I still passed, you know. I don't remember exactly what I missed now. It was something like geography or Africa. I can't remember exactly, but I missed part of that. So, so now we're back living, and now I'm in the 5th grade, so life